again, and thanks for staying with us. So today marks the last day of the National Communal Land Tenure Summit that's taking place in Boksburg. The Inter-Ministerial Committee on Land Reform, which is led by Deputy President David Mabuza, has gathered several role players in the sector, including traditional leaders and government officials for the summit. The gathering is expected to produce some kind of recommendations on national policy and legislative framework for land administration and tenure reform in communal areas in particular. Our reporter Katlego Legodi is at the summit for us, and he joins us now live. And of course, there's no overstating the importance of a summit like this, Katlego, in a context where the land question, as it were, is so contentious. How are we expecting day 2 of the summit to unfold?
Most definitely, Ayanda, it remains a contentious issue here at home, the issue of land. This is where we're seeing about 800 delegates from different formations within the land and traditional houses gathered here, including government officials, just to iron out issues and just come up with tangible framework that will deal with the issue of land reform here in the country. And of course, it's seen a whole lot of stakeholders involved, even civil society organizations are coming here to add their voice. Of course, this being a process that is led by the Deputy President David Mabuza, leading that Inter-Ministerial Committee on Land Reform. This is just a marathon of engagements that have been ongoing around the issue of land. If you can remember, there's that parliamentary process that was also underway in terms of just going through different provinces and just getting people's take on how land can actually be reformed in the country and how everyone can just be on the same page in terms of issues of land. So yesterday we saw the Deputy President David Mabuza just coming through to give a keynote address, and this is also a process that saw the ministers, different ministers like the Minister of Khotang, Zuma, also coming forward to speak to delegates gathered here, just trying by all means to come up with solutions in terms of the issue of land. We also saw the Agriculture Minister coming through to just deal with the issue of agriculture and how that department is affected by the issue of land. This is also a process that will see today those delegates, about 800 delegates gathered here, break into 3 different commissions. Those commissions are just dealing with different issues that will come up to that, to the leader, but basically to that legislative policy and framework around how the country should address the issue of land. But I'm going to bring into the conversation now, Ayanda, our guest. This is Hosi Siahlolo, who's going to join us now just from the Bapedi Nation, just to let us in on the important process and their role here. So thank you very much for joining us on Newsroom 405. You are one of the key stakeholders here in terms of, the issue of land and how the different contributions that you've made here from yesterday to today. Maybe just let us in on how important was it that, different houses of traditional leaders get included and involved in this process as the country tries by all means to iron out and come up with solutions over the issue of land. Welcome to Newsroom 405.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. I mean, it's very important that all provincial houses, including us, the National House of Traditional Leaders and Khoisan leaders, to be here so that we can make our input. I mean, as you know, this has been long overdue. We were in the exact venue in year 2017. We took resolutions, agreed with government that this would be done within a period of 2 years. It's been 5 years now. So we are obviously getting impatient, and we cannot really trust the word of government, because they committed here in 2017 when the current president was the deputy president by then. So he made a commitment with former President Zuma to say the communal land will be given back to rural people so that there could be security of tenure, but it hasn't happened. But obviously we are hopeful that during this summit we will get to a point where action will be taken to ensure that rural people also have that security of tenure.
It's been a couple of years since 2017, and that firm commitment, you're talking about it here, that there was a commitment from government in helping where this issue is concerned. Just let us in on those sticking points. What have been the challenges to reaching a consensus where the issue of land and the security of tenure is concerned?
The main issue is legislation, the proper legislation to transfer the land from the minister, because currently all the 13% is held in trust by the minister. So there has to be a proper legislation to transfer it from the minister to the rural people under the traditional authorities. So it has been a legislative issue and it's not being attended to. And remember, the current legislation is a product of the previous government of apartheid. So it can't be that 28 years later we are talking about legislation that was inherited by the new democratic dispensation. Really, it does not make sense to us.
Today marks the last day, and we've seen marathon engagements from different commissions, as well as those ministers that came here to address delegates gathered here. Are you hopeful that at least, at the end of this day, there will be some sort of a firm commitment and a direction in terms of the solutions that you're looking for as houses of traditional leaders?
Yes, we at the end of the day we have to remain hopeful for the sake of our rural people across the country. If we just become hopeless, then it will be a problem. We have a responsibility to be hopeful on their part. So we'll keep on pressing government very roughly, especially us as young traditional leaders. We do not have as much patience as the old regime of traditional leaders. We want things to happen as in now, like every young people who in the country who wants to see change. As much as we are traditional leaders, but we are young people, we want to see change now. Yes.
And those are the sentiments by the people on the ground.
Definitely, because you see, the security of Tenure will be able to unlock economic opportunities. Because for a small example, if one has to take a decision, as me as the traditional leader and the council and the community, if we take a community resolution to establish a mall, it becomes insignificant without the stamp of the minister. So basically the community's decision is meaningless. We want to take that away to say, if the community has taken a decision about a certain investment, we do not have to jump through 100 hoops of various offices to get the okay from the minister, because it's the people's land, it's not the minister's land. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Jose Siatlolo, they're coming through from the houses of traditional leaders, just talking about how it's important that at least this day and this process here leads to tangible solutions. You can imagine, Ayanda, that they've been waiting and looking towards government at the time of Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa. When he was Deputy President at the time, there was a commitment made, and now there's Deputy President David Mabuza that we saw yesterday give a keynote address here, and there are those commitments as well. But houses of traditional leaders saying that they are growing impatient on the ground as they call for those tangible solutions, and they want this process here and the summit to come through with those solutions that will ensure that houses of traditional leaders and everyone here in South Africa is more or less satisfied with how the issue of land is being dealt with. Ayanda?
Thanks very much indeed for that, Katlego, for watching that all-important land summit in Boksburg. For now,